25 minutes. Now, PHELAN have the chance to bounce back in this series. We've seen a lot of reverse sweeps in terms of the first game being taken away and then the team coming back and forming a 2-1 overall scoreline. But this is where we have the real separation of the best teams versus those maybe not quite at the top tier of competition in the UK. And DIABOLUS look like they are about to bury the hatchet and find that 2-0 to put themselves in the final. Do you think PHELAN have got a chance here? Do you think that they need to shape up anything considerably? Their draft definitely didn't. I didn't really think that it gave me much confidence in 9.9 specifically.
Yeah.
It just felt like a super comfort, and that maybe isn't the best thing to do here.
I felt like they were basically reliant on hitting skill shots, the Least Cocoon or the Thresh Hook, to start anything. And it felt like they were up against a composition where you don't have that ability. Like, you're against a Zilean where, if you manage to hook someone, it doesn't matter because they're just going to revive them. I felt like they had to snowball really. They had to get this Elise and this Renekton ahead to find tempo in that game, but they just didn't. And it felt like it was DIABOLUS' game to lose, which obviously they didn't. So. I think they should shake things up a bit, maybe get something that can facilitate the Orianna a bit better if you want to go towards that again. Maybe take away the Kindred who's so strong in this patch, or potentially the Zilean, because it's just hard to play against if they do find the ability to keep someone alive. And then crucially, it felt like there was no one really who could go in to enable you to get those big shockwaves. They were waiting for Aragon to turn up. And by the time he turned up, the fight was usually already over.
And actually, even if he did turn up without flash, it's still very telegraphed. Where Renekton, it's not like Jarvan who EQs in and it's almost instantaneous in a lot of ways. No, Renekton is super telegraphed. It would take him 2 seconds to cover the same distance that Jarvan can do in one combo. So it's a little bit difficult to make those fights work the way that you might want them to. And especially, I think Elise drops the ball when she goes into the cocoon as well. Goes into the repel as well.
I think the Vayne first pick as well was a bit. I mean, I understand the reason you go for it, but it felt like that was a composition where it's so difficult to play Vayne into because everyone can provide so much threat at short range. Rakan, if he locks you up, is going to punish you. The Zilean can revive anyone you're targeting. There's so much CC across the board. Ryze has always been a massive problem for Vayne because of that point-and-click route, so I don't think they'll go towards as much priority on that, but to be honest, it's now in DIABOLUS.
Was he running Cleanse? I can't remember.
I don't think so. No, it's definitely heal.
It's interesting that.
Because I remember in that 1v1 against Juicer, he had all sums and he wasn't able to cleanse the quickness. So we'll see. DIABOLUS now on this blue side, which means you definitely won't be able to have a first pick Vayne coming out for PHELAN on that blue side. But do you see the bans start out pretty similar to last game? We've seen the Vlad taken away by PHELAN, the Vel'Koz taken away by DIABOLUS. I think potentially if you're worried about that Kindred, it could be something you take off, or maybe it's something that you want Soft to play.
Yeah, maybe Soft feels comfortable playing the Kindred in this scenario. I wouldn't be surprised if DIABOLUS maybe even first pick it, though. I genuinely think it's such a strong pick on this current update. And we're still starting to see the ban does come through. That will limit what Monkiz can do. But Monkiz has probably got plenty of other junglers that he can play. Well, like we said, there's the likelihood of Aatrox maybe being seen somewhere. Haven't seen him actually picked or banned as of yet, so maybe PHELAN and DIABOLUS aren't as comfortable. But we know Kerberos can play it. I'm pretty sure Monkiz could run with that Aatrox in the jungle too. Unsure if it's in Kroxan's wheelhouse, but we've seen Kroxan expand that champion pool from his classics into the likes of Akali more recently as well. So there are those options. They're actually going to ban Vayne away from DIABOLUS. I don't know how I feel about it. Like, do you think Vayne is that much of an issue that you would ban it away?
I mean, I think she is tricky to deal with. I think DIABOLUS, they put themselves in a position where they could deal with it. But I think if you're not confident you can shut down everything this Vayne does, I understand why they get rid of it. Especially when you're one game down, this game is all or nothing. DIABOLUS go for very similar bans, and they will first pick that Ryze, which, as we saw, is a flex. So now PHELAN, they know very little information about what DIABOLUS is doing. They have to take something here that's going to give them power. Will they go towards the jungle or potentially bot lane, which we saw them prioritize a lot last game? But quickly onto that Renekton, you got to ask, what are they going to pair that with?
Yeah, well, it could even just be the Elise again for Soft. I mean, Soft will default onto Elise. I would actually like to see something like the Lee as well, but they're going to go for the Rakan to give Snuggly the Rakan. It means it limits it from Hado. You can't go for the Xayah Rakan lane now, which is obviously something that was really strong for DIABOLUS, and we'll see exactly what DIABOLUS choose to respond with in this first phase of the picks. Looking like if they were to go for their jungler and their support, that I'd be okay with that. Their jungler and their mid laner might work as well if they
jungler AD carry. I mean, I think I would want to see them get the jungler this first rotation, so they prioritize something solid. They may be of the opinion that because Kindred's off the table, there's nothing that's that high priority. There is a pretty wide wheelhouse for Monkiz. They will take that Braum for Hado, which is going to help to sort of dissuade Rakan. If he goes in, you can block the follow-up. But now we have to see what will they follow up with. There are a lot of hovers. But
I like jungle. I like locking in your jungle here just because it gives a little bit of mystery over. They're actually going to go for use as Ezreal, so they do get their bot lane secured.
A very safe bot
This
lane.
next ban phase, it also means that PHELAN are going to have to make some guessing when it comes to their next 2 bans. Like, do they just want to focus the jungle pool if they were to pick their jungler? Do they just want to focus the potential mid lane pool or the potential top lane pool? Because again, that flexibility of Ryze just throws some questions up and makes that second ban phase a little bit awkward for PHELAN.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a very safe bot lane as well, this Ezreal Braum. Yes, there's a lot of threat from the Engage or Rakan, but up against someone with so much ability as Ezreal and someone as durable as a Braum, not a ton you can do. They will go for that Tristana, which gives Achu a lot of scaling, but also a lot more range than he had last game, which I think is good when you look at what he's up against. They quickly ban away that Zilean, which I'm very happy to see because it was problematic in the last game.
Yeah. Absolutely was. We'll see. Again, they are expecting Kerberos to take the rise to the top. They think that Kroxan's still waiting to pick up his particular champion. And with the fact that they are actually limiting mid lane pool bans, I wouldn't even be surprised to see an Aurelion Soul ban just because you want to take ADM off full comfort here.
Yeah, I understand. That's why they may have hovered it, though, to try and bait out that ban from against ADM. I feel like you wouldn't hover it if you were planning to pick it. It was sort of a bait to suggest, hey, remember this one? Do you not want to ban it? We'll be interested to see what the ban second. I think a jungler could make sense. I do feel like PHELAN are in a bit of a tricky situation here.
They're going to ban the Akali.
They are banning the Akali, which has got slight nerfs this patch, but still strong.
It's something that Kroxan plays a lot.
I think a big reason for it is that PHELAN, they have to blind either their jungler or their mid here. And if you pick a mid who's fairly safe, but not too great into the Akali matchup, you're going to get punished. And I think, I wouldn't surprise me if PHELAN are leading towards getting that last pick jungle full soft. They want to make sure he has a good matchup, and it's going to take a safe blind for ADM, which may well be that Orianna again. And I like that they have the Rakan now to set up for that if they go towards that.
I think the Orianna with the Rakan is a better setup. I like the fact they banned Lee. It is, I think, Soft's 2 best performing junglers in Elise and Lee. I've seen better performances from him on Lee, so I think that's a pretty safe ban coming out from Diabolus. And you are right, it is just going to be the Orianna lock-in. It's got more setup here, more instantaneous engage with the Rakan, so you can find those more classic team fights. But the actual composition from PHELAN, doesn't matter what the jungler is, I think looks very similar to what it did previously. Classic front to back team fight with a scaling AD carry.
I do like the changes in bot lane. This does now mean it goes to Diabolus what they want to take to match up. Rek'Sai's still pretty strong in this patch if they go towards that, and they will lock it in for Monkeys. So he will have a lot of power, able to contest those Skull Crabs when they spawn.
Rek'Sai, she is a level 3 jungler too. You know, she's one of those junglers that benefits from having every skill unlocked because of the synergistic qualities between all of them. Well, let's see what Diabolus looked to go for. There was a potential thought of Irelia. You know, sometimes you just think about the hovering over Irelia.
It would still be a flex. It could still go in either lane if it was Irelia Ryze. But we will see Diabolus lock in that Azir. So a lot of safety, a lot of range against Orianna, and a lot of scaling. Question's going to be, what will Soft take? He knows he's up against a Rek'Sai. He can now see the entire comp he's up against. I feel like you want to take a pick that you can really make a massive impact from because you've left your jungle pick to last. You don't do this and then pick something that's not going to make a big impact. Question is, what does Soft feel confident on to win up this game? Against Monkeys, who had a great performance in game 1.
It's going to be the Skarner locked in. This is a classic pick that we often saw on 9.8 and before. You'd pick the Skarner into the Rek'Sai. And this is a very, very sort of a standard jungle matchup, I think. And I think both junglers will feel comfortable in the situations they've been put in. You also have the isolation potential of the Skarner. You've got to pay the Quicksilver Sash tax, which obviously is important too. Yeah, I think this is a better draft from PHELAN overall. I think I feel more confident in this draft. I think it has more fail-safes in it. You don't rely on snowballing as hard as you did previously. And
I think crucially, they denied a lot from Diabolus that they struggled to play against. The Zilean and the Kindred just made it so hard because even if you found those key skill shots, nothing was going to come from it. If they left the Zilean up and they got the Skarner, I just feel like that would be pretty doomed anyway. It's better, but not great. But now they have a lot of tools to make use of. They have Snuggling in the Rakan, which is easier to execute than landing a great Thresh Hook. They have Soft on this Skarner, who, if you get on top of someone, has a lot of lockdown. I think they're in a much better position to find potential in this game. There is still that issue, though. They're up against Nazir and a Ryze. There's an Ezreal as well.
It's hard mid-game scaling.
A lot of backline damage. If you don't get on top of them, you're going to struggle.
I feel like if Diabolus come out in the mid-game with their 2-item spikes and they're just ahead, they can win off first Baron. Easy win off first Baron there. And I think it'll be it will be very difficult for PHELAN to deal with that.
And I feel like the thing is as well is that you want to get on that back line because if you're not able to follow up on the damage that hits those crucial carries, they're just going to murder everyone who comes near them, because Renekton, he's not going to scale into a super tank. He's not going to be able to withstand the brunt of a Ryze, an Azir, and an Ezreal for very long. So you have to find the Rakana engages and the Shockwave onto that other team, and potentially the Skarner too, or you're just going to get mincemeated.
It's so mobile as well. If you look at the way that all of those individual carries work, you know, the Ryze ultimate, the Ezreal Arcane Shift, you've got the shuffle from the Azir. They have that mobility to separate themselves out in fights.
Ryze is so good into Rakan, because when you use that Grand Entrance in, he can root you midway, and it just completely destroys any chance you have of engaging. But the one issue here is that you are most likely going to have Ryze TPing in later on, so you could still find those engages, but it's going to really come down to, can PHELAN get some early momentum, start looking for those good team fights where they get backline access, and then transition this. I think they got a better chance.
Where do you get early momentum?
I think the Skarner, I think, not really level 3, because I think the Rek'Sai is stronger than you. You could still find a gank, but it's not the greatest thing. But I think you find momentum when he hits level 6. It's so easy to get.
Which lanes, though? I mean, I'm looking at this, I'm thinking Tristana, like, okay, has a pretty decent laning phase, but then drops off mid-game and comes back late game. You've got Orianna, who's okay. Eragon is the only person I can think that I'd want to snowball, and maybe if you get more resources up there, but it's just a Renekton at the end of the day.
If you shut anyone down, it's going to come out huge.
Sure.
If you shut down the Azir and slow him down, and you find an objective that potentially the mid tower, it's going to be great. I think bot is still a very much potential target. Braum, although he's tanky, will go down if you CC him long enough. And I think the follow-up from any team is pretty good. Renekton is obviously the easy one to go to because he's got so much CC and you're up against a Ryze. But then if you go in mid lane and you manage to lock down the Azir and then a Shockwave comes through, he's dead. If you go in bot lane, the Ezreal's a harder target, but you can just grab the Braum and take him with you. I think all 3 lanes are viable, but he needs to start making things happen from that level 6.
Yeah, well, he didn't have the worst early game. Had some good counter gank opportunities in the previous one, so we'll see what happens here.
We've definitely seen worse early games, and it wasn't great.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't the best, but it wasn't the worst either. And you can see we're now onto the Rift. 50 seconds in, we're just going to wait. And you can see, actually, Diabolus took an aggressive position here to get a bit of vision down in the red side jungle of Soft. And I don't think Soft realizes they're there, but they will know that he is looking to start on that top side of the map.
Yeah, it does have that Predator, which is, I mean, it's one of the things that are fairly common on Skarner, but I have seen some of the Predator junglers like the Olaf move towards Conqueror sometimes for more trading power and 1v1 potential. But this sort of ties into what Soft wants to do here. He wants to gank, he wants to make big things happen with his ult, and I think Predator is absolutely the better choice for that.
And I think also with Predator, you're going up against, I mean, the only target you're ever going to want to make use out of Conqueror with is maybe Monkeys.
Yeah.
Everything else, Predator is just infinitely better because you want to get onto that backline. So I completely agree with you. I think it is just the better choice. I like the way that Diabolus pathed into their jungle, by the way. Chu and Snuggly got a ward down, and then they just backed out, and so Diabolus had no idea where they were. They knew where the ward was, but they didn't know where Chu and Snuggly were. You actually saw them sweep almost every brush on the way into that red side jungle while avoiding the brush that had the ward in. And that actually means that PHELAN don't have any real information on where Monkeys has been pathing so far, because he hasn't shown himself on that ward as of yet.
I think he will head over to it now if it stays alive, because I think this is the standard red side start. You go red, you go Krugs, you go Raptors, you hit level 3, and this is the path you want to go on a jungler who wants to make things happen early.
Yeah.
You are now going to hit this level 3, both the junglers after the Raptors. It's a great position for you to potentially make a gank happen, or you can head over, do a little bit of your blue side jungle, and then head over to the Scuttle Crab. It's still not going to be up yet, so I expect Soft should continue on, get a couple more camps. He used to manage to Arcane Shift out, but Snuggly and Chu have the pressure here, and this plays so well into what Soft wants to do, because he's going to head towards his blue side, do that wolves, then probably the blue, and then I feel like that's going to be the time you head straight for that Scuttle Crab. And with priority in bot lane, why not?
Yeah, it looks like you're just going to see it mirrored. We're seeing a basically mirrored jungle path coming out from Monkeys and Soft right now. And it looks like with a bit of priority in mid lane, you're going to see Monkeys pick up this River Scuttler pretty handily too.
Actually a little bit early, but he's going to actually use this opportunity to potentially look for a gank. Eragon, he should know what's happening. You know how Monkeys is path. You know you have to play safe when the jungler's on this side, and he does respect that and backs off. It looks like both junglers just going to pick up a Scuttler piece.
Yeah, it just means there's a slight... Soft has managed to clear his blue, and I think that because Monkeys is looking for a gank opportunity, won't set him too far behind. However, this really is just almost like complete mirror match in terms of the way this pathing has taken place. Chu looking to pick up their first piece of plating here, and they will. They will get that first plate very early on. Again, the shove versus the Braum Ezreal. You're always going to have that shove as the Rakan and the whatever ranged whatever AD carry you're picking up, just because you have that ability to shove the waves.
And I think crucially as well, you can shove confidently because you know Monkeys is on the top side of the map, and your jungler is on the bottom side. Soft is there if you need him, and it's a great position to be in if you are playing this Rakan and this Tristana just to start applying pressure. And a play this early is great.
Actually, it's so interesting you talk about that because I genuinely feel in a lot of scenarios, the jungle pathing is so obvious now that you can have complete idea about where the jungle is. Actually, you can see Krogson now. He's going to be targeted by Soft. Soft maybe diving in. Does land the E. Now forced out the heal from Krogson. Krogson's going to try and dive away. A nice little shuffle back. And now Monk is coming across. Flash! Knock up. There's the heal. ADM as an aggressive flash comes out from Krogson. And now suddenly Soft gets knocked up. That's a mistake from Soft. Or is it? Is it a mistake? Yes, it is, because Krogson picks up the kill.
Yeah. Oh, actually, ADM has to be careful. And that is the one scenario this game we're going to see where Conqueror would have come in nice. Because you saw they just lacked the damage to kill off Krogson. They lacked the damage to kill off Monkeys quick enough. But in the end, it is a one-for-one trade. And now Soft has recalled and got his boots. So we will see a replay of that. Stun just landed on Krogson, but he survived so long. The damage just isn't really there to follow up. He does some fancy moves to get away. And then Monkeys comes in. Looks for ADM. But again, ADM summoners mean he survives a long time. And Monkeys, once you've gone in as a Rek'Sai, you're not as tanky as the Skarner. But Skarner isn't going to survive much longer.
Yeah, I agree. And we did say the only scenario where Conqueror would be better is if you're going toe-to-toe with a Rek'Sai. Almost everyone else, you're going to benefit from Predator. I don't think softened back to even pick up Predator at that point, though.
Yeah, and he does have it now, though. He's looking for Krogson. And
oh, Krogson just think he's going to die here.
Yeah, you're not going to make that escape again. Krogson just playing overconfident in this lane. He felt like he was dominating against ADM in the 1v1. And sure, is he up in CS? Yes. Is he up in HP? Yes. But he just completely oversteps and forgets that League of Legends isn't a 1v1 game.
No, and there's going to be a big wave shoved into him. I actually think on that replay, I don't know if you saw it, Orcs, I think ADM placed the ball in front of Krogson, where he expected them to go in. That's a big, big engage from Hado. Hado now probably going to go down to the Ignite. Yusa will do his best, but the heal really will get nothing. And that's a big engage. That's the power of the 9.9 Rakan in lane. The increased engage speed on your grand entrance. It just gives you that ability to just find the engages more consistently.
Yeah, it caught Hado off guard, and Hado could have escaped that if he used his flash, but I just don't think he was prepared for the power of this early game Rakan, because yes, Rakan's ult has been nerfed. There is no doubt about that, but he's still level 5. He hasn't even got his ult yet. He is stronger in almost every way pre-6. The only thing that's slightly weaker is AD. And when you have a Tristana, I don't think you really need that.
This is a really good performance from Snuggly and Chu right now. They've got 3 turret plates already. They are 10 CS up on Yusa's Ezreal in this lane. And you can see this is going to be a rough situation. I think they could even look to go for that first tower. They could then rotate towards top and get the Rift Herald. This is the ideal start if you are the bot lane from PHELAN.
Yeah, I think Yusa is so low on mana here. They will get the third plate. I don't think they'll get the full tower, but right now, a flank's actually coming in from Hado, but I'm not sure what he's really going to be able to do. Yusa has no mana. I mean, he pokes at you, but that's all you're going to get for that. And crucially, he seems like he's baiting as if the jungler's there.
Yeah, that's what I felt like.
Which could be smart if Monkeys looks for a gank hit now.
Oh, ADM gets locked up. That's the Sombrero Shockwave, and actually Monkeys gets pulled out from being underground, and now ADM is going to be supported by Soft. Soft yet to get level 6, so can't really engage in that fight, but that was a really nice shockwave from ADM to keep him safe. Yeah,
it does keep him alive for so long, and just the damage was not quite there for Monkeys. Wanted to get him low enough to use the ult, but did not find enough damage, and it was a good gank, but in the end, you got nothing. You literally just got the shockwave traded for the Streamer Shuffle, so I'd be pretty happy. The only downside is ADM is starting to slip behind in CS somewhat. Monkeys looking bot here. Chu.
Oh, Chu does dive away. Don't think Monkeys is going to be able to lock him up in the meantime. Predator, Soft coming through as well. He's looking for the engage. That's Snuggly going in, locks up onto Yusa. Yusa now flashes away. Soft doesn't quite land it, however, but they're going to go for Monkeys instead, sacrificing Monkeys to a Chu who picks up the kill. And this is a really, really positive start from our Irish team as they continually abuse that bot lane where they have been doing so well.
Yeah, and this is a completely different bot lane we saw from the previous game. Snuggly was missing pokes across the board. We had Yusa and Hado as the rocks. We'll see that play come in. So Snuggly finds the charm onto Yusa, and he's the target, but Soft isn't able to get in range. But then they just think, well, there's no mobility left on Monkeys. Just turn on him. And Krogson, he comes for the roam down, but he's just way too late. And PHELAN making a great play. And this is exactly what I talked about before the game. I want to see Soft making things happen on this Skarner, and he has so far, and to great effect.
Have we actually just rotated Halo and Yusa mid now.
I mean, that looks like what they're doing.
And they're going to keep Krogson clearing waves on the bottom side of the map.
It might be a temporary thing just because Krogson went back to pick the waves, but
it looks like it could be.
I guess we'll have to see. I think they shove in one more wave, then they go towards bot.
That makes more sense, yeah. I was thinking that was a bit funky. Something that we haven't touched on, by the way, and maybe one of the reasons why we're only seeing a 500 gold difference between Diabolus and PHELAN is their solo laners have got big CS advantages. Kerberos has consistently outperformed Eragon in the 1v1 in terms of just pure number generation. Getting that gold behind him in the CS, he's doing really well. And that's really, I think, going to be a saving grace for Diabolus, especially when Kerberos does start to end up joining these fights. Absolutely.
They do have to deal with this Tristana, though. 2-0 looked strong. And we get some damage in this tower. Not a ton, but you can see how much on the back foot Diabolus' bot lane is here.
Which is unusual because Diabolus' bot lane has generally been pretty good, but this is a rough lane if you're the Ezreal. You know, you're never going to win the shove versus a Rakan Tristana, and that has allowed Achu to generate such a gold advantage. He's now sitting at BF Sword Zeal. That's like a mini spike for Tristana right now, and that makes her so strong just versus this particular 2v2 matchup right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's a very new patch. The players have only had a week of solo queue and some scrimming to sort of get used to this. And I think it just might be a lack of respect for the changes on Rakan and what position they're putting in. Because yes, his engage and his ult isn't as intuitive and as quick, but his power in the lane is so strong, and they are going to look.
Oh, that wasn't a great ultimate from Snuggly, but not a great ult from Hado. And Achu and Snuggly will pick up yet another kill.
Yeah, not sure what to say about that one. Just great play from PHELAN once again, managing to punish, but Hado and Yusa really looking bad this game.
It is a very rough lane matchup if you're the Ezreal Braum. You're going to get shoved in consistently. Maybe you expect a bit of jungle pressure, but the jungle has been so centered around that mid lane that Snuggly and Achu have just started popping off with absolutely no one to try and help them. Diabolus have responded well here, but Kerberos and Braum, I mean, they started this too early. Kerberos is just not in position. They might end up just losing this outright.
Just go down very quickly, and PHELAN are winning everything across the map. They get the Herald, they get the kills bot lane. They're in a great position so far. And you asked me before the game, do I think PHELAN can win this one? I'm going to say yeah.
I mean, PHELAN are definitely in a position to win. They've generated a more significant advantage than Diabolus had at this stage of the game in the previous game, and really has come primarily through that bot lane. That wasn't, I just don't think they started that too early. Like, the Monkeys and the Krogson started that without Kerberos being in position to be able to contest it. And with Kerberos not there, who really is just the strongest member on Diabolus right now, they kind of gave it away for free.
Well, I mean, I'll say I think it was the only opportunity they're going to have to start it. If they left it till later, PHELAN were going to be there, and they just wouldn't really have a chance.
No, I see that. I see that. I just think it was wishful thinking to not expect PHELAN to be able to contest on a 3 versus 2 basis.
Yeah, I guess, but it's one of those situations where if you do, you end up losing it to the other team. If you don't, you just end up losing it to the other team anyway.
Yeah, but I mean, if you waited and then you allowed PHELAN to try and contest it with Achu and Snuggly actually in the process of backing, then you got Krogson into position. Do you think that you would have had a stronger opportunity? Because Krogson could have ultimated both Hado and himself into that fight.
Yeah, I guess they could have left it for longer, and they could have waited. They could have left it on higher HP, so they let PHELAN head over to it, and then they try and clap. So I guess you have a point there, but
it doesn't matter.
It's a lot to think about.
It is. It's too many ifs, buts, and whens. And all we're seeing right now is PHELAN maybe looking to get yet another tower.
It's a sort of play you expect from someone in Council, you know.
A big brain play.
A big brain play. Interesting to see how it turns out, but unfortunately, PHELAN will just crack that top lane tower very easily with that Herald. Snuggly and Achu, they've been a talking point in this game.
They have indeed. And Achu and Snuggly have constantly found those engages. Monkeys has been looking to salvage where he can on the side of the map where he is stronger. I think his solo laners are just arguably stronger in their positions right now. I would give credit to ADM, he's caught up in terms of CS, but I think a lot of that has been because you've seen some forced rotations out of Krogson right now, as now Hado gets locked up once more, really just not going to escape from this situation, dives away. Soft does have the flash available, Predator coming through, and actually Hado does get out and has retained that flash too.
Yeah, I think the crucial thing was Soft knew because Hado had the flash, if he went any deep it would get a bit risky. They do end up backing off, and it's the first time we've seen some life in the established bot lane being able to survive these plays. But still, I mean, you're playing Ezreal into a Tristana. You want to be ahead in items when you hit that mid game because, you know, you benefit from cheaper item build path and the Kleptomancy gold. If you're only even in terms of items completed, you're not in a good position.
Kerberos still continuing to do really well in this lane matchup. Maybe able to get yet another plate just before it drops off.
There's a gank coming in. I think Aragon's going to regret that TP.
He might regret that TP. Some damage already comes through. Now Monkeys dives in. The ultimate comes through from Aragon, but he should go, as should Monkeys. And Krogson is also... Oh, the heal comes through to keep Krogson alive. That was very, very close.
A lot of damage from that tower. But crucially, it's an easy dive to pull off. Monkeys does have that aggro reset on his ult. They do manage to perish Aragon. But in return, ADM going to get some chip mid. I hope it stayed a little bit, but looks like he isn't going to get punished. And essentially, PHELAN just go for a reset of the back of DIABOLUS' play.
Yusa just needs a bit of time here. The rest of his team are kind of pulling the weight in terms of that team fight potential, that skirmish potential. You've got a very, very strong Krogson. You've got a very strong Kerberos. But you just are so far behind in the AD carry department right now. Achu at Infinity Edge and Static Shiv. Ezreal has picked up his boots, of course, and is working towards that Iceborne Gauntlet, but he is just massively behind in terms
I think
of items.
Yusa is sitting on some gold now, so he's going to recall and we'll see where he really is in the item comparison. But unless he picks up a Gauntlet and a Mirror Mana right now, he's really struggling. Just pick up that Gauntlet.
That's it. And I think, oh my goodness, Achu just absolutely obliterated Krogson.
That was some damage. That was some damage, and I think it's showing the power of that Static Shiv. Infinity Edge just blows Krogson up, and Monkeys was there. They expected it. They were waiting for it. They wanted to make the bait, and he just got exploded. And PHELAN really taking over this game right now. And you get that tower in the mid lane, pretty much uncontested.
Kerberos is going to take that blue buff. Not going to rotate mid too heavily. And again, Snuggly looking for an engage. He goes across. He's going to get knocked up. And time and time again, falling for the same trick. Lack of vision, lack of respect for the engage. And Hado whiffs yet another ultimate. Name a more iconic duo. As Kerberos goes in onto ADM. ADM forces the flash. That is a very aggressive ultimate from Monkeys. I think he may end up going down to the tower
he will go
here.
down. He just found to kill the...
No, he doesn't go down. That's so close, but Soft will smite him to the ground.
Does get shut down in the end. I mean, I understand what DIABOLUS is going for. They want to make those desperation plays. They want to find something. They do manage to get ADM, but they lose so much on the other side of the map. And it's one of those situations. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice. What are we doing?
Fool me the third time, you're just not worthy of being in this game.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
It's the third time it's happened. It's the third time. You'd think they'd learn from it.
Okay, well, I mean, I don't really know what to say about this. This was just a whiff from Hado and a massively, massively hopeful ultimate from Monkeys.
If you factor in Hado's ult hitting, remember he had flash as well, so he had a flash to secure the hit. I think Monkeys would have been able to get that kill and get out.
Yep, for sure.
So, bit of a misplay. They do manage to get the kill in the end, but not the greatest situation. And
oh my god.
What is that quote? It's not, I don't think it's an accurate quote, but it's a quote everyone always says. It's what's the definition of insanity? And it's like doing the same thing over and over. I think DIABOLUS are insane right now based on what they did in the bot lane.
I swear I just saw the same thing happen 3 times in a row.
Yeah, I'm getting some deja vu.
It's the good vision. I mean, let's praise PHELAN though. Good vision control on the red side jungle. They tried to make sure that they covered all their blind spots. They tried to sweep out the vision from DIABOLUS to make it difficult for them to push that bot lane in. But feels like tilt play from DIABOLUS, if I'm completely honest.
Yeah.
I mean, just like letting Achu find those engages over and over again. I mean, he's essentially 2 or 3 shotting most of these squishy targets on DIABOLUS at this point in time.
It feels like the gameplay of a team who are already looking towards game 3.
Yes.
Because it just did not look smart. But actually, looking towards this game right now, Aragon does not get seen. Well, he got spotted out, but he just managed to get away. I think they were looking for the play there, but Monkey's still undetected.
I think maybe waiting for the red buff spawn. I'm not so sure. You can see.
I think he wants to go for a gank here, but there's a pink ward, so...
I mean, is it worth it on a Renekton at this stage of the game? Like,
I mean, what else can you do in the game? It's
no,
like,
it's true.
You are so limited to making plays, because if you go for a play anywhere on the bot side, you know Soft is going to be there protecting this Tristana with a 600 gold bounty, and you're just going to lose. Tristana is just way too strong, way too hard to engage onto with that rocket jump. I think I understand why Monkeys is playing on the top side, but you're absolutely right. It's a pretty doomed thing to go for.
Look at that red side control in terms of vision from PHELAN. They have just got wards in every single brush available. Achu and Snuggly, they're going to get this tower for free. Nothing that Yusa can do about it. Going to pick up the dragon too. I think they'll end up trading it tower for tower though. As you can see, Kerberos investing that time onto the top side tier 1.
Yeah, Krusti is an outer for an inner though. I'd definitely take the inner in that situation. Actually, I'm not even sure they'll get this. It's quite high HP. Mini wave coming, but you see Soft is storming over there. does actually change his mind, but...
Storming over there, then changes to go for the Grump.
Yeah, he's like, I could help my top laner, but
I'd rather help my bot laner.
I have jungle camps to clear. I bet everyone watching this has definitely heard that one before in a solo queue game.
I've got jungle camps, guys. I can't gank.
Yep. Just look at the item difference, though, right now on the AD carries.
It's just ridiculous. It's just absolutely ridiculous.
Normally, you'd have completed the Gauntlet and the Mana Moon when you have Infinity Edge and maybe Zeal and Boots in the Trist. That's just sort of like, okay, I'm doing pretty good in Ezreal. I'm hitting my damage power point sooner, but he is just so far behind, not even just in item numbers, but you got to factor in, Ezreal is supposed to be up in items. His are cheaper. He has the gold from Klepto. This is such a dire situation. I think just to blow it all out of proportion, look at the level difference between Achu and Yusa.
Oh my god, 10 to 13. That's a significant experience disadvantage. You can see Diabolus are not even happy to push past midway point of their tier 1 and tier 2 towers because they know the engaged potential of Snuggly and Achu is just too difficult to deal with. Also got to factor in that, I mean, Snuggly went for Ardent Sensor on this Rakan.
I mean, why not?
Just hardcore buffing the fact that Achu is so far ahead at this point in time.
Yeah, and I remember a long time ago when I started playing this game, one of my friends introduced it to it, and there was a game where we got destroyed by the enemy carry, and he said to me some immortal words, which is when the enemy carry is the highest level in the game, you know the game's doomed. And it feels like one of those. Achu level 13, and remember, he gets so much power from that, the extra range on Tristana. I just feel like there's no real answer to him right now, and the engage from Diabolus is really lacking. That's something we didn't touch on before, but other than, you know, Monk is tunneling in, which will do nothing, there's no real way to punish this Tristana. Look at the gold.
Oh my god. That is a 4,000 gold lead on Achu. I mean, the entire lead from PHELAN is on Achu. He is the person that is just single-handedly carrying this gold lead for PHELAN. But it is one of the most impactful members in almost every way for PHELAN too. When you have a fed Tristana, it can feel so oppressive to play against because not only does she get good with items, she gets incredibly toxic with levels as well because of that extended range.
Yeah.
And actually level 13 is like that breaking point where you're like, okay, my range is just really good now.
Yeah, especially with Rapid Fire as well. That one auto you can poke with does so much damage. And the thing is, there's no one on the side of Diabolus who really can soak that auto, bar the Braum with this Unbreakable, but then you waste a pretty big cooldown. But everyone else, if you put one auto into Monkeys or Krogson, they'll be half HP.
There's no one there that can tank these autos at all.
Yeah.
So when you find a fight, you need to find a full-on burst. Achu looking for Krogson once more. Can Krogson dive away? I don't know. Actually, lots of damage. That's a bit aggressive from Achu, though. Has he maybe found a little bit overextended as Yusa coming through? Monk is there, too. Achu now going to be the target. This is where things could turn around as Kerberos moves in his way in. He's looking for the fight. Though. Somehow Achu's still going. Kerberos on the front line. They're trying to kite back. You just can't kite back. The shockwave only lands onto Hado, and Achu continues the pressure. Krogson tries to divide with the Emperor's will, but Kerberos really only able to survive with a sliver of HP. And honestly, I don't know. I just feel like it's impossible now.
That was the best situation Diabolus is going to find in this game. I think that was the best situation they're going to find, and they still lost. I think that says it all. Tristana jumps in to the middle of Diabolus, essentially, and still manages to get away. I think this game is pretty much shut and closed. There is still potential if they shut down this Tristana, but when that didn't work, what is going to work?
You can see Yusa just trying to poke where he can, but that's a Baron now picked up by PHELAN. There has to be, I mean, let's have a look at that again. Krogson, I mean, Krogson goes really, I mean, as soon as the Unbreakable's up, I'm going back in, but Krogson goes massively back into the base and actually delays his entrance into this fight.
Because there's just no damage coming to Achu right now. All the damage goes into Snuggly.
Kerberos is like, let's blow the combo and Snuggly.
Yeah, and Achu's able to get a reset and flash out that shockwave. Doesn't connect. I thought that would have been a clean ace.
Yeah.
I feel like if he'd got that on 4 members. So it shows Diabolus still know how to avoid a shockwave, but unfortunately you cannot sidestep Tristana auto attacks. And they do win out that fight and get that Baron buff. And now things still looking pretty dire for the side of Diabolus.
I don't see a comeback mechanic for Diabolus.
No,
that's the only problem. Like, yeah, okay, Ryze and Azir scale pretty well, but I mean, like, so does Orianna and so does Tristana.
Here's what you're gonna do. You have to put someone in the side lane and then wait for Achu to jump in on them. And then just hit it with absolutely everything.
The ultimate bait.
It didn't work last time, but that is your one way back in the game.
You know that Achu really wants to dive on someone in the side lane, so that you just put a vulnerable member in the side lane, and say, come for me, Achu, and then you just dive on him. Throw everything that you've got. Throw the kitchen sink at Achu.
Yeah. And if that doesn't work, then you go next.
Or, if you're Monkas and Kerberos, you split push to win the game.
Yeah. I mean, he is pretty high up in CS. He is powerful in this Rise.
Oh, Yusa gets engaged on Achu. That's the ultimate from Hado, but really isn't going to do anything as they dive once more. So much damage coming out. They're going to potentially pick up an inhibitor here too. They're looking for the 5 versus 3 scenario. Kerberos now backing off, but it might be too little too late as the rest of Diabolus are fiercely holding on to the defense of their base. Gold lead has eked out to 7,000 gold now. I mean, PHELAN, what can you do here? You're just, they're so far ahead.
Yeah, and it's so scary here. They don't even have the vision of PHELAN coming out in that corner. They're just going to hammer in that tower. There's not very much you can do.
And just as dominant as Diabolus looked in the first, PHELAN returned with a very similar set of dominance too.
I'd argue more, to be honest. Just from minute 1, this bot lane has been crushing for PHELAN. Hado will respawn, but again, there's no engage really to come in from Diabolus unless you go for a stream or shuffle, but I really feel like it'd be suicide.
It actually would be. Without Zhonya's, it would actually just be suicide from Krogson.
Yeah.
They're going to just back off and take the red buff here. They're going to play it as patiently as they can. They're pushing that mid lane wave in.
One saving grace is that they haven't actually set up the top lane because Kerberos was pushing it, so they have bought some time with that because I feel like if PHELAN were pushing that top wave, they would just be really doomed by now.
You can see Aragon's trying to shove for Diabolus, splitting them across the map. Yusa now, there, 1v1 versus Achu, but Achu just finds so much damage. Yusa gets taken so low, no idea what he was thinking with that positioning, but realistically, if you're Diabolus, what more can you do?
Yeah,
there's just no way.
Still up for the recalls, they will head top. I mean, it's easy pickings. You head top, you push that wave in, you go for play. I mean, you see the items coming out right now, you see the stopwatch coming in from Aragon, and you see the red pot from Achu. They know this is the last push of the game. So I feel like it's up to Diabolus to try and find a mental team fight, and Monk is potentially going to look at some vision here on that can't put it out. He has to be very careful. You are not strong on this Rek'Sai right now.
No, he's only just picked up his first Black Cleaver. He really does not have much defenses, in the way of defenses anyway. He's actually prioritized magic resist over anything else, which is interesting given that I think most of the damage that the entire team is receiving is coming from Tristana. There is a bit of mixed damage from Tristana, of course, but realistically it's those basic attacks that are hurting now.
Yeah. Maybe just accepted that, they die if Tristana hits.
I think if you don't blow up Tristana, which with that Bloodthirster and the red pot is going to be almost impossible now.
I know we said it's suicide, but I feel like Krogson honestly has to go for stream or shuffle.
Well, into a Rise, lock up into a full combo.
I genuinely think it's the only way you ever kill the Tristana, but Tristana now has flash, so I feel like even that's going to be limited in effectiveness.
I think it's going to be very, very difficult. You get Krogson doing what he can here.
I think it's testament to how doomed this game seems, but that's the one play that I would say maybe you could find something.
And you can see PHELAN very happy to play this as safe as physically possible, just pushing in those waves. One wave at a time, building the pressure in the top side of the map. Snuggly has been impeccable. Achu has been impeccable. This has been an incredible performance from a game that needed to be clutched out by PHELAN. And Diabolus have kind of looked lost. And Yusa and Hado never usually do this badly in the laning phase. Maybe no, Hado makes some mistakes in the later game with positioning and engages, but honestly, Yusa has been a rock for Diabolus through all of their performances. And this has not been his game whatsoever.
No, and Kerberos still doing pretty solid. Killed so far, and he is level up and over 100 CS up on Aragon. So it is forced him up, but in the meantime, PHELAN still got the pressure here.
Look at those Qs, they're just attacks brings that shield all the way back up.
Crucially, the play here isn't about getting this tower. So when this Baron spawns, I mean, look at the map. There is just no vision, no way that Diabolus contest that Baron. They will look to try and get this tower here. Gotta be a little bit careful. Oh. Look at that damage on a Hado.
Hado just gets popped, and now Diabolus in a 4 versus 5 scenario with waves crashing into both mid and bot. Really don't think there's anything they can do about this. One more wave on the top side of the map, and maybe even PHELAN could look for an engage. Diabolus have to make that hero play onto a 2, but it just does not look possible at any stage of this game right now.
I think you just go for it. If you don't go for the streamer shuffle play, you're just going to lose, and the engage comes in from PHELAN.
Oh, the big knock-up. Kerberos instantaneously suppressed. He's going to go down. The shockwave isn't good, but it doesn't matter because the rest of PHELAN are cleaning house. This will be game for PHELAN. In under 30 minutes, they bite back and take DIABOLUS down to push this all the way to a Game 3. It has been a story of the bot lane right now, and PHELAN with a Chew on this Tristana have looked unstoppable.
Yeah, I mean, great play from Soft as well. We talked about the win conditions before the game. He played to them, and Chew and Snuggly just did so much work. Got to give credit to the PHELAN side for bouncing back in that one and looking like, you know, if we'd seen this team in the UKLC, they could have made playoffs.
Yeah, absolutely. That was a really good performance. I think Chew's kind of signature pick is the Tristana. I've seen him play that a lot. It kind of has been one of his best performing AD carries overall, but you can't really ban like a Tristana, right? It's just not a ban-worthy champion. Maybe you have to be more respectful in your lane pickup. Ezreal Braum is generally considered quite safe.
I think pick something that has some power. Like, they picked the Zyra Con, I'm like, look, we're going to fight you.
Yeah.
And then like, okay, we're just going to play Braum Ezreal and sit back and let you take over the lane, and they did.
I think the Rise priority is fine from DIABOLUS because Kerberos has looked stellar on that. He's whitewashed Aragon both times. Like, it's been... Aragon has almost not been relevant, you know, from both of those games. So the priority for Rise has been great for Kerberos. I think he's been the best performing member of DIABOLUS throughout all the games, just in general, the consistency. But yeah, I think don't give the power of the engage. I mean, Snuggly on an engaged champion, name a more iconic duo, right? He always finds those really big engages. He always finds ways to set his AD carry up. And if you give Hado and Yusa a low pushing lane with very poor trading potential, they don't seem to do that well into this bot lane.
Yeah, and I think it showed the power of Rakan in this patch. It felt like so much more potent in the laning phase, and Snuggly just made complete use of that.
We are jumping to an extended break. Going to be a little bit longer than it is usually, but when we're back, we'll come back with the final game in this series.